It was a quiet evening at the Xavier Institute, the sounds of laughter and youthful energy having long faded into the night. Erik Lehnsherr, the man known to the world as Magneto, stood at a window, gazing out at the stars. Below, in the gentle glow of the Institute, he could almost picture the students, the young new mutants he had for a time endeavored to guide. There was a profound sense of peace in their learning, a hopeful vision of coexistence that Charles Xavier held so dear. And yet, for Erik, it was also in this quiet moment that a different, more somber clarity began to crystallize. He had tried, truly, to walk Charles's path, to honor his dying wish, to foster a new generation of mutants, to believe in the possibility of a world where humans and mutants could thrive side by side, without the constant shadow of fear and persecution. He had, for a time, served as headmaster, attempting to temper his own convictions with the hopeful idealism that permeated these halls. But the world, as it always had, continued to disappoint him. The headlines still screamed of mutant threats, the whispers of fear still echoed in the hearts of humanity, and the relentless march of bigotry continued its grim pace. This wasn't Charles's fault, nor was it the fault of the well-meaning students. It was simply the persistent, unchanging nature of fear. And in that quiet observation, Erik came to a painful yet strategically vital realization. Charles's methods, while noble and necessary for some, were simply not his methods for guaranteeing mutant survival. Peaceful integration alone, he concluded, would not be enough to secure their future. Humanity needed a different kind of lesson. It was a difficult truth, born from a lifetime of witnessing unimaginable prejudice. He understood that for humanity to truly value the X-Men, for Charles's dream to ever flourish without constant existential threat, there needed to be a contrasting force, a stark, undeniable presence that would unify human fear, but also, paradoxically, focus it. He would become that focus. He would become the designated antagonist, the lightning rod for humanity's anxieties, thereby allowing the more benevolent mutant factions to exist with a degree of relative safety. This was not a decision born of malice, but of cold, calculated necessity. It was a strategic gambit, a willingness to play the role of the villain for the greater good of Mutantkind. His plan was clear. He would reclaim Asteroid M, not merely as a base of operations, but as a symbolic fortress, a visible declaration of his intent to stand as the primary mutant threat, the one humanity would direct its ire towards. By drawing all the world's fear and hatred onto himself, he would, in a twisted way, become a shield for the rest of Mutantkind. Think of it this way. If humanity had a clear, identifiable villain in Magneto, then the X-Men, with their message of peace and understanding, would appear as the reasonable, even desirable alternative. He would create a binary choice, forcing humanity to confront the extremes of mutant power, and in doing so, perhaps, inadvertently, push them towards accepting a less confrontational path. His actions, from rebuilding Asteroid M to his more aggressive public stance, were designed to be both provocative and, in a strange way, protective. He understood that fear, if concentrated, could be managed. If diffuse, it was an uncontrollable, destructive force. This maneuver, though seemingly a retreat to old habits, was in fact a profound, painful sacrifice. Magneto knew the world would revile him. He knew that even those he sought to protect might misunderstand his true intentions, seeing only the returning tyrant, not the reluctant strategist. He would sever his ties with the burgeoning hope he saw in the New Mutants, deliberately choosing a path of isolation and antagonism. The warmth of the Institute, the camaraderie he had briefly experienced, would be replaced by the cold, lonely vacuum of space and the constant vigilance of a self-imposed war. His motivations, then, were rarely simple. They were forged in the crucible of unimaginable suffering and a deep, unwavering conviction that Mutantkind must survive, no matter the cost. His decision to embrace the role of the villain was not an act of simple ego or pure villainy, but a complex, almost heartbreakingly pragmatic choice. He believed that by embodying the threat, he could simultaneously demonstrate mutant power while also indirectly safeguarding the very future Charles Xavier envisioned. He had to be seen as the antithesis of Xavier, so Xavier's dream, however fragile, could have a chance to breathe. And so, as we look back at Magneto's long and complicated history, this particular turning point stands out. It wasn't just a relapse into old habits, but a calculated, strategic move by a leader willing to bear the world's hatred and misunderstanding for what he perceived as the ultimate good of his people. It highlights the profound complexities of his character, reminding us that the lines between antagonist and protector, villain and tragic hero, are often far blurrier than they first appear. What are your thoughts on Magneto's Gambit? Do you see this period as a genuine strategic sacrifice, or simply a return to his more confrontational nature? Share your perspectives in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deeper dive into the nuanced motivations of our favorite characters, please consider subscribing or following for more thoughtful explorations. Until next time, keep pondering the complexities that make these stories so enduring.